I, F28. Just learned that my fiancé, M31, cheated on me with my best friend, F27. Sorry for the long post in advance. I am a mess. I created a second account in a hurry because my best friend and fiancé both follow me in my other account. Also, I am on my phone, so please pardon any formatting errors. Any names mentioned here are false, but the ages are accurate. Pretty much what it says in the title. I will start from the beginning. 4 years and a few months ago, my best friend, Andrea, F27, and I moved to one of the biggest cities in the US together. Both of us had gotten jobs there, and though we were in the same industry, we were hired by different companies. We ended up sharing an apartment and life was great. One evening she called from her office and asked me to meet her at a bar. Her entire department was going out for drinks. Both of us were not dating yet. So I headed out and had a good time with them. A few days later, a guy who was at the party called and asked me out. Brad, M31, is kind and smart and funny, and he made me laugh and paid attention to the smallest things I said. We began dating, and before I knew it, it got serious. We dated for 2 years and then he proposed. I accepted and we began planning for the wedding in earnest. I moved in with him soon after he proposed. We were going to get married in my small town, and his family and friends were happy to travel there. Andrea excitedly agreed to be my mo, not that she needed to be asked. Then COVID hit us in more ways than I could imagine. First, lockdown hit just as we were about to send out the invites. Then Brad suffered a 40% pay cut at work, followed by his losing his job a few months later. While he moped at home, I tried to keep his spirits up. WFH took a toll too, as I was asked to join meetings at 9 p.m., create dashboards at a moment's notice, and work on weekends too. Brad and I grew distant. Soon he began spending more and more time outside, telling me he just had to get out. I was okay with that, believing him when he said he was meeting his buddies. I was promoted late last year, and that meant handling a team. I began spending more and more time at work. Brad finally got a job too, which did wonders for his self-esteem. Fast forward to Sunday night. We were about to go to bed and his phone rang. He was instantly super twitchy, telling the caller it was late and he would call back the next day. When asked who it was, he said it was someone from work and that he always calls at this time to discuss work. I knew it was a female voice because Brad keeps the volume setting at the highest level. I wanted to say that, but for some reason I did not pursue it. I checked his phone the next morning when he was in the shower and found Andrea's number saved as Bill C, and also a bunch of really racy texts. She sent him nudes and videos too. Their last conversation was what they will do to each other once she was gone. My dad suffered a mild heart attack recently and I am flying home this weekend to see him. My heart sank and I began crying. Brad emerged from the bathroom and instantly knew what was happening when he saw his phone in my hand, and my face. I confronted him, but he began making pathetic excuses, stating that he felt alone, and all you do is work. I called Andrea, who denied everything at first. When I sent her screenshots from my number and demanded an explanation, she confessed to everything. She and Brad were having an affair behind my back for months. It all began when he lost his job, and she was pressuring him to break up with me. He would not do so, so she resorted to spreading rumors about my family to discredit them and to scare him into thinking that I would make him move back to my town after we were married. This I came to know after a lot of questioning. She also said that she and Brad had gone on a couple of dates before he and I met, and seeing him with me later really angered her. She even tried to get him to date her again after I began going out with him, but he turned her down. Brad's refusal infuriated her and she hit the gym and began doing yoga with a vengeance to, in her own words, get back at me. I have spent the last day crying, being angry, crying angry tears, and binging on takeout. Brad slipped out of the apartment as soon as he could, and I know that he is at her place right now. She has called to apologize, but I have blocked her number. She then called from his number too, but I cut the call as soon as I heard her voice. My dad called to confirm if I was indeed coming over and I cried, but I did not tell him anything yet. He thinks I cried out of sheer relief because he is doing better now. I want to break up with him and sever all ties with Andrea for good, but first I need to see my dad. I am lost. Should I tell him? I hate myself for not noticing this earlier, and that I gave too much of myself to work. Also, Andrea's family and mine have been very close for decades. Andrea's mother and older sister have been nurses their whole lives, and they work at the hospital where Dad spent some time in the ICU recently. My mom is super grateful to them for all the help and support they gave us, and rightfully so. What do I do? How do I go about doing it? I am lost and angry and crying. TLR. My fiancé cheated on me for months with my best friend and I am at a loss as to what to do and how to do it. Tell your family. Break up. Don't ever talk to them. Just because your families have interpersonal relationships doesn't mean that you have to accept disrespect. Look at what they did to you. They didn't care about what their affair would do to you. Whatever happens from now on is their fault. They set all of this in motion, so they have to live with the consequences and take responsibility. First, none of this is your fault. If you did lean into work too much, that doesn't even remotely justify how horrible the two of them are. Drop them and move on. Yes, tell your family. Honestly, it might help the situation as you're all kind of going through something right now. It's shitty and it sucks, but I think you'll all appreciate that you have each other. Just a fiancé, bullet dodged. Luckily no house or kids involved. Good riddance. Happy freedom. Kick his ass out. I'm so sorry this happened to you. You will get through this. You can do this. Tell your family. Activate your support system. Cut all ties. Be radically selfish in your own care. Take a vacation in nature after you see your dad if you can. On the other side of this hell you will find the real man of your dreams. Sending you love. Two utterly horrible people who deserve each other. They'll probably continue their relationship and pretend to be in love, but she'll always know she wasn't good enough for him until he had no other options. Your life is going to be so much better without them in it. I'd tell my dad because he'd probably be able to tell something was off with me, and not worrying what might be wrong would worry him more than the truth, but you know him best. I hope he recovers quickly and that you can lean on your family for support. Tell all the family what happened, keep the messages in case she lies, and anyone who says she said X, just send them the messages. Don't let people slither their way out. Kick his broke ass out of the apartment and cut the engagement ring with some pliers so it won't be on her finger. And delete all contact of them both. Anytime someone brings them up, just say you would rather not talk about a homewrecker. It's the petty route, but I do it. I hate cheaters. I think you misspelled ex-fiancé and ex-best friend. Your best friend is a piece of shit and your fiancé is an untrustworthy pile of fail. Excise both of them as if they were cancer and move on with your life. You deserve better. Oh God, sorry honey, you need a hug right now. Please say this to your dad and mom and Andrea mom. They gonna flip the story. So save your ass on that. You need someone on your side right now. Just prepone your trip, you need your family. My boyfriend of 8 years drunkenly cheated on me. So I've, F24, been seeing my boyfriend, M24, for 8 years and we bought a house together 4 months ago. I got a full-time job half a year ago cause I just graduated. My work schedule is nearly the opposite to his, so we don't see enough of each other I think. When COVID restriction were lifted we were wanting to see more of our friends and spent time fixing up our house too. I think we aren't as emotionally connected as we used to be, and our sex life also isn't great. Barely any foreplay, so it's really hard for me to be in the mood and barely ever having sex then. I think we both have gotten lazy and complacent. But apart from that our relationship has always been great. So 2 weeks ago my boyfriend had went to a bar close by with his mates from work. I was in bed cause I had work the next day. All his mates had been at the bar a while and already really drunk. So he had to catch up. Basically he got so drunk he barely even remembers coming home. But on the way home he walked a girl home who he works with and is on the way to our house. He had become good friends with this girl and I have even been to her house and had drinks with her. When I was at her house previously she had asked if we had ever cheated on each other, and when I said no she was shocked. She has even asked him about our sex life and how it has been going and giving my boyfriend advice. On the way home she had asked him about our sex life again. After walking her home they were tried so sat down on the sidewalk. She got on top him and he cheated on me. He didn't initiate it but he also didn't stop it. They didn't do it for very long and neither of them finished, they just stopped after a while. She had scratched his back during it and left marks obviously for me to see. Afterwards she said I have corrupted you. Like now he is the same as her so she must do this often to people. He came home sobered up and realized what he had just done. I was asleep until the next morning and my boyfriend was in bed. I went to work and when there was only an hour left in work I got a text message from him saying that he had done something really terrible and that we needed to talk about it in person. Obviously when you see a message like that you can guess what it's about. I honestly thought the text was a joke and didn't believe it at first. But when I thought he had cheated on me, I knew exactly who it was with. So when I came home, he told me everything and answered all the questions I had. I was at my mum and dad's for a while, but I'm now back in our house. He sleep in the spare bed and we have been trying to spend more time together and have now started couples counseling. He had to tell his work what happened as well so that he works with her as least as possible. He has only told 2 friends. But he definitely has been affected by this just as much as me. He doesn't know who he is anymore and never thought anything like this could happen. This is literally my worst nightmare come true. I like him because he was one of the good ones, but maybe that doesn't even exist. Could I get some advice on how to get through this? We really want to stay together. It's been easy when we are spending time with each other. It's when we are left with our own thoughts that's the hardest. Edit. Someone has just messaged saying that this was a rape. And I don't disagree with them. As she forced herself onto him and he never gave consent. If your boyfriend had been the woman in this scenario, there would be no hesitation to say he was raped by that colleague. Couples counseling seems like a good start, and just generally putting in effort in the relationship and communicating about what you both want and need. Maybe have a date night every week? I don't know if you realize this, but your partner was drunk to the point that he needed help coming home and barely remembers it. He then told you what happened and seems very much affected by this. Look at this and flip the genders, and I think you can see pretty clearly that he didn't cheat on you because he was RPED. That woman violated him against his will and without his consent. He doesn't sound like he was even present enough to know what was going on, never mind him pushing her off. Right now, I understand that you're hurt, and rightfully so. But your partner is feeling it just as much and needs your support because he didn't hurt you. His friend did. What you described sounds like rape. Especially her comment after. She knew she was taking advantage of him. It sucks many men won't admit or report crap like this. He was raped. She knew exactly what she was doing when she left marks on his back. He couldn't consent, but she was aware of the things in place. I might be playing devil's advocate, but just how drunk was he? Like, was he too drunk to give consent or push her off? Your boyfriend was raped. She didn't ask for consent. He didn't consent. Just because he did nothing to stop doesn't mean he wanted it. If it's the other way around, everyone will see it right away that it is rape. The classic response to rape while happening is being frozen. Any female rape victim knows this. It can happen to guys too. That's a hard situation, but I wouldn't consider this as cheating, I think. You even said he doesn't remember going home. That girl took advantage of his drunk self and basically raped him. I'd suggest maybe file a police report on it. And also, you two should go to counseling together. It won't be easy. Couples counseling is the way to go. OBV, you need to cut contact with her and see if you can revive your relationship and also build trust, and only time will tell if the repair process is successful. One thing I can say is to allow yourself to feel every feeling and think every thought you have, so you can truly navigate your emotions around this subject. My boyfriend makes more money than me and it's making me resentful. My boyfriend, 26 male, is an engineer and makes more money than the average guy his age. But he does struggle with feeling fulfilled in his career and works long hours. I, 23 female, just got out of college and am struggling to find a full-time job in my field. I currently work retail part-time for less than $15 an hour. This makes me super depressed sometimes, but I'm trying to work hard and keep looking for greener pastures. We met 8 months ago and I felt that he had everything I was lacking in my last relationship. He was fun, thoughtful, talented, smart, and very unique. He was a established adult complete with 2 cars and a nice bachelor pad. We complemented each other in every way imaginable, and when I went to his house, I felt at home. I think I fell in love with how stable he was. 3 months into the relationship we moved in together. This is my first time living with a partner, so I had a few fears. I feared that I wouldn't be able to split costs down the middle. I feared what would happen to me if we ever broke up. He reassured me that he would do everything he could to take care of me. Now we are 5 months into this and we are at a breaking point. This man does everything I thought I wanted. He takes me out on a vacation once a month, pays for groceries and dates, and helps around the house when I'm tired. But I'm slowly getting resentful. We moved into a rental home that's way out of my budget because that's something he wanted. Literally all my money goes to rent and bills. It's gotten so bad that to save money, I skip eating out or buying clothes or anything I want. And to make things worse, I can't afford anything I need either: dental, medical, medications, gas, etc. I have to ask for help a lot even though I pride myself on being as independent as possible. A big thing taking my money is student loans. It's definitely made things x10 harder for me. My boyfriend, on the other hand, had his college paid for by his parents. He does have $1,000 in credit card debt, but he also has $2,000 plus in savings. I had to spend my whole savings of $500 to keep my head above water while he gets to spend tons on nights out and going out to eat every day at lunch while I try to cook at home and skip meals. I don't want to resent my boyfriend for the lack of foresight on my end since he pays for everything we do together. But I've got so many bills I literally can't pay on my wage, and I feel so alone when I ask for help and he tells me he can't help because he also feels like he's struggling to keep up. It's causing a lot of fights and turning our once happy relationship into a nightmare. I guess I'm jealous that he can afford whatever he wants and I feel forced to cook and clean the most because I only work part-time, but I'm still so drained. My breaking point is having an ear infection and only having $10 to my name. Where did I go wrong? What should I do? You both went wrong by trying to live a glamorous lifestyle that you can't afford. If you think the relationship would be better had you lived within your means, then the problem isn't the relationship, it's the strain you both put on it. Get out of that rental first and foremost, it will be better for both of you in the long run. Break up with him. He deserves way better than you. If he insisted on living in particular place, then he can pay a larger share of the expenses. BTW, you didn't have to agree to living there. If you're starting to resent him just because he happens to earn a higher wage, things aren't likely to improve. Don't split the household bills 50-50, for one. He earns more, he pays more. That doesn't mean you don't contribute, but make it within your means so then you aren't having to go without things like healthcare. Sit down with him and budget. Keep your own limitations in mind and make him aware of them. Emphasize that you don't want to be financially on his hook. It's funny that first you said you can't afford clothes and eating out. Then you mentioned you can't afford to save, doctor, dentist, all the important things. It's normal to sacrifice eating out when you can't afford it, though it's weird to me he'd buy himself food and not food for both of you. But really, your priorities just seem out of whack. Talk to him. He's not in your head. He can't guess. It sounds like you need to file for deferment. Do you think maybe you have a competitive attitude towards your BF? Sometimes when we are resentful to our partners, it means there's something that needs to be taken care of internally. Perhaps you may even need some time apart if money is driving you apart. You should both at least make a budget plan together, something that makes sense for your financial needs. Go to a free or low-cost clinic for the ear infection. Get out of retail, food service pays way more, or seek customer service positions at high-end institutions such as a law, marketing, or sales firms. In my state, I've seen receptionists at these types of businesses land $25 an hour easy. Good luck with everything. The inconsistencies in this post. Oh my god. You moved in way too fast because you wanted a secure place to live in complete with 2 cars at all. You admittedly fell in love with his financial stability. Your idea of struggling and being unable to buy clothes and eat out. Right on. You then agreed to move into a house you knew you can't afford to keep up with. Whom exactly? There are literally so many ways that one can downgrade their lifestyle to save money and live within your means. You got yourself into this, but you have the ability to take yourself out of it. Can you move back home? Change your car or use public transport? You definitely need to move from that expensive house. My girlfriend slapped me. Yesterday at work. We work together. My girlfriend slapped me in the face as a joke in front of our colleagues. For context, we were all joking and my friend said something mean to her as a joke, which caused her to try and get me to say something to my friend as a joke. In response, I took his side because it would be funny, which in turn she slapped me in the face. I didn't think anything of it until I was driving her home. When I got to her house, I started to get upset and in the end I wanted an apology. I didn't clearly say I wanted one, but more so acting like I wanted one. She didn't get the message and that's when I told her to get out of my car. She said okay, then left. I felt like shit after, but I was also pissed. She didn't have the decency to treat me like a human being and apologize? I have a history of being hit when I was little. I don't mind playful hitting, but this slap felt more disrespectful to me than anything, and the fact that she wouldn't apologize made it even more so. Fast forward to now, as I am typing she has called me multiple times today. I have ignored them all this morning. I did pick up one time this afternoon, but it was short because she hung up when my brother interrupted me, then texted me if I had time to talk to her. This made me feel more upset, so I ignored her. She called me 20 minutes ago asking me why have I been ignoring her, and to be honest this whole situation has been giving me a lot of anxiety. I told her I wanted an apology, but she said it was a joke. I asked her how would she feel if I slapped her in the face. I feel like I would be in the same position that she is in if the roles were reversed. She then called this childish, so I hung up. I don't know what to do or think right now, and I need some outside context. I love her, but instead of burying my feelings like I always do, I need them to be respected. I know I am not the best communicator. I do struggle with communication and dealing with my feelings. It's always been a problem for me, and I need to know if I'm dealing with this situation correctly. At this point I'm lost, and need outside help. What should I do? Slapping someone in the face is not a joke, that's so fucked up. I asked her how would she feel if I slapped her in the face. I feel like I would be in the same position that she is in if the roles were reversed. She then called this childish, so I hung up. I sincerely hope you don't believe that asking her to put herself in your shoes was in any way childish. She said that because she wanted to avoid taking responsibility for what she did. She did not slap you as a joke. That's bullshit. Leave her. Dump her. I promise you will be respected and congratulated. Dump her. That's very bad behavior. And don't look back. Stop making drama for nothing. If you feel disrespected, just say it instead of playing the "guess what's wrong" game. You even already know what you should have done. Instead of burying my feelings like I always do, I need them to be respected. She is the childish one and also physically assaulted you. Dump her. If you don't, she will hit you again. Her slapping you in the face was absolutely not okay. But also expecting her to be a mind reader all day, especially when you acknowledge that she didn't get the hint, wasn't cool either. You should have had a conversation the moment you felt it was necessary. And she definitely owes you an apology. Jokes are supposed to be funny, assault is not. If she can't see that, it shows a lot of her character. My friend said something mean to her as a joke. In response I took his side because it would be funny. Offense is no excuse for putting your hands on someone, but what was said and why did you agree for comedic effect? Curious. Hi. I was married to a woman who beat me for 5 years. If she is okay with doing that to you in public, in private it will get much worse. Take my word for it. If she does not accept any responsibility for it and plays off your apology, leave. Get out of there.